She sleeps like a pearl to the tune of the stars, tune of the stars. And she lives only a few miles as the crow flies, but still so far, still so far.
Man channel. Here we are at the ranch, and we are doing part 2 of the barn home versus the shed cabin. If you saw part 1, you saw Brian's beautiful barn home, and now we're going to do a quick review of the shed cabin. And I call it a shed cabin because it's actually made out of a shed. A company called Ulrich Barns of California built the basic structure for me. I designed it, worked closely with them. They were great, very patient with me. And they knew that I wanted to make this into a living quarters for recreational use for the weekends and for vacations. And so, but ultimately, this is a cabin that is made from a shed, which I think is kind of interesting. And it keeps the cost down. These days, if you want to get a tiny home on wheels, which is 8.5 feet wide, they range in all kinds of prices, but generally you're looking at spending about 50 to 70 grand, maybe even more. And they are beautiful. They're coming up with great designs, but I find them to be constricted. 8.5 feet gets pretty old after a while, especially if you have your family staying with you. This is 14 feet wide by 28 feet long. The sleeping quarters are 8 feet long, and then the rest of the cabin, the open area, is 20 feet. And so I'm going to show you the outside of it, and then we'll take a step inside. What you'll notice here is maybe we need to take a closer look. But so here you can see the stain on the boards, and what I did is stain it a general honey color, and then took a roller and went down the middle. I'll see if I can dig out the stain and take a photo of the type of stain I used. It's an outdoor stain, supposed to last for years. You don't need to further seal it. It's got the seal in it. And it's been about 15 months. It's been through a lot of weather, a lot of rain, a lot of wind, a lot of sun. And it basically looks like the day I did it. It's really held up very well. And if it does age, I think that's just going to add to the look. We have a board and batten look on the top with the dormers, which makes the loft a little taller, adds some space up there, and gives some nice light. Here's the log corners that I added on. You can see some of the torching, and then the stain and the glaze. Just kind of gives it a nice look. It could have been cut as one piece by making sort of a 1/3 cut, but I decided to do it this way because it's quicker and easier, and not really a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff. I just go for a general vibe, a general look. Here's an example of the window trim. I think it came out really nice. Once again, those are just poles. Those are 4-inch poles that are split in half and then scraped, sort of giving it a hand-peeled look. I then torched them with a blowtorch, stained them, and glazed them. I just think that's kind of a cool look for the window. I don't know if you can see in this afternoon shade here, it's actually noon, and it's got a nice tree canopy right up here, which is keeping the area nice and cool. And I built this porch myself. It's a deck with a little roof overhang, and we sit there by the wood pellet stove fireplace outdoors. It's got a nice rusted metal roof, and once again I used those poles, scraped them, torched them, stained them, and glazed them, and it gives it a nice look. Installed that little lantern light and the little deer key hook, and now we'll go ahead and go in. Here's the initial view of the interior of the cabin. You can see it has a nice high ceiling, fairly spacious. There's a little kitchen area, a little coffee maker. Show you the flooring. Corner with the TV. Both those deer were hunted on my property by me. The one on the left was during rifle season 2 years ago. The one on the right was during bow season 2 years ago. That was a good season. Last year, took 2 meat deer, not trophy deer. Here's the flooring. And you've seen from my other video how I did this floor. This is the plywood floor, which was torched and then stained and then gloss coated. You can see more in the Shaosugi Bond video. Here's the view from the opposite side, showing the bedroom and sleeping area as well as the bathroom. So when I originally got this shed cabin, it did not have a bathroom. That was intentional. I wanted to build it myself, save a little bit of money. And so what we have there is a queen truck bed. That's something my wife wanted and picked out herself. And then there's 2 queen beds upstairs in the loft, and it's actually pretty roomy. It's a little deceptive. It looks small from here, but it's actually pretty big. You can try and go up there for a second so you can get the feel of it. Real happy space up there. And then you can go in the bathroom, and you can see we have a nice corner barrel sink. I got that off of Etsy. A little medicine cabinet I built into the wall, and a special dry flush toilet called Lavio. And the cool part about this is, rather than going through the expense and hassle of installing a septic system and the costs with the permitting process and everything, because we're only up here a couple days at a time, I use this Lavio toilet. And the way it works is you just push the button and it spins and suctions it, and there's no smell. There's like a normal smell, obviously, when you go to the bathroom, but then that's it. It disappears. You can come here 2 weeks later. In fact, it's been 2 weeks, and there's no smell. Do your business, and once you're done, simply press this little button, and it disposes of the item, like so. Talk about this bed. Got this truck bed off of Etsy. I think it's super cool. It's a little toyish, but I don't mind. I like it. My wife wanted it, and I agreed. I thought it was pretty neat. I consider it to be kind of a piece of art. It's actually made out of fiberglass, and those brake lights work. You can just turn them on and off if you'd like. So I thought that was an interesting piece. The couch. Got the couch, probably spent a little more than I would have liked on the couch because I wanted this cowhide trim at the bottom, and that's kind of expensive, so it's something I wanted. It's actually a pull-out couch, so it's got a nice Tempur-Pedic bed inside. It's actually very comfortable. So that's queen size. 2 more guests can sleep there. So we got, basically you could sleep 8 comfortably in the cabin, and then we have another cabin with another pull-out bed. This little coffee table, I made that myself from some plank wood. I don't know if you can see the legs. I just thought it was really cool the way the coloring came out, and lacquered the top also. Got this Barca Lounge off of Craigslist for $300, actually new. Sort of a closeout deal, so I was really happy to get that. And got this coffee table off of Amazon. It's a really nice redwood table. Not red cedar, sorry. It's a nice red cedar table. And that's the cabinet. And the way I did this is I bought the cheapest cabinets they have at Home Depot, and I bought the butcher block top, and I cut it to size, and then I stained it with these stripes, which I thought was pretty cool looking, and then used a lacquer, a really thick glass top. And I just think it's beautiful. I love it. For the cabinets, I bought Siberian birch bark, believe it or not, off of eBay. It took like 3 weeks, and thought I'd never get it, but I actually did get it. And then I glued it to the cabinet face on the doors, and then lined it with these twigs that I just took off of trees, and then nail gunned those in. And then took these handles, which is also birch bark handles, and attached them to the cabinet. This sink is operational. As you can see, it makes a little bit of noise. And the way it works is I have a little system I set up with internal plumbing, which I'll explain why I did that. It's kind of set up like an RV sink. So you have a water pump and shark bite plumbing, where you just insert the tubing. You don't have to do any soldering. And there's a 5-gallon water bottle here, which gives it the water, and when you're done, it drains into the bucket. And then after the couple days of using it, I just toss out the water and I'm done. There's a pipe that goes through that I put into the bathroom, which is right next door. Same thing, I just run the water, and you have a little water system. Pretty basic. And the reason I did that is, the whole reason I have this shed cabin is originally we had an RV on the property, and it got overrun with rodents, and it was really traumatic. So when I got this, I made up my mind that I didn't want any openings. There are 0 openings for them to get in here. Either the door has to be left open, or they're going to have to chew through about 1.5 inches of plywood. So hopefully that's that. Same decision with the little fire heater here. I decided to go electric rather than doing a wood stove, because I didn't want the smoke and the smell. And it's really pretty at night. Probably have a picture I can put up. And just no muss, no fuss, and no openings. We do have air and heat anyway right there, so it does a really good job for it. As you can see, I stained the borders of the windows to give it a little pop, and then I shellacked the ceiling, which gives it a nice glossy look. I took a live edge piece of wood and stained and lacquered that to create this shelf. I got this goofy little coffee cup holder from Hobby Lobby, real cheap. I then stained that rail right there. Did it around the door and the windows. And so that's it. That's basically the shed cabin. It's a nice little place. It's I think all in all it's about 500. What is it? Well, I'd have to do the math on it, but I think it's about 500 square feet if you include the loft. I'll check the math on that. But it's actually pretty roomy. You can have a family of 4. You can even have guests. Have maybe 6 people in here, and it's still pretty comfy. And because of the way the layout is, and it's so wide open, feels good. When you walk in, the lighting's really nice. It's just got a good feel. Because of the tree, we have a lot of shade, so it's not too hot during the day. It cools off easily with the air conditioning and skylight. This is the little fire pit area where we have the Adirondack chairs that I personally torched, and some lava stones circled around right the rock. Here is the Adirondack chair. You can see I torched it pretty good, giving it a really neat Xiao Sugibon look, and then stained it and glossed it. This is the outdoor shower. It has hot running water. It uses a camping heater, which is connected to the propane and a hose, and you have literally endless hot water. I love showering outdoors, and in fact, even at home, I shower outdoors every day. That's my beautiful wife enjoying the shower. This is a wood-fired hot tub I made out of a stock tank with a copper coil. You just basically cut, insert the fittings, and then turn on or put the wood in the fire, and you've got a nice hot tub in about 2 hours. It's easy to maintain, easy to clean. The title of this video is Barn Home versus Shed Cabin,
And so I wanted to take this opportunity to discuss some of the pros and cons of both of them. That barn home is absolutely beautiful. It's a work of art. It has, it's just full of custom pieces. And the con of that is it's expensive. The pro of that is it's absolutely beautiful. So if you have the budget for it, then obviously that would be the way to go. But a lot of us either don't have the money, or if we do, it's not enough of a priority that we want to go to that expense. And so I thought this was a great option in that you can get this for, there's ways to cut it down. You could get it for relatively inexpensive and then do some of the work yourself like I did, and you have a very livable, custom, beautiful cabin, and it'll last for decades. So the benefit of the shed cabin is cost. I think it's still beautiful, still has its own unique custom feel, and it's great for people that are have a modest budget or just simply don't want to spend that kind of money. And so I think both are beautiful, and depending on what your resources are, you could do one or the other. I think if you're building a place to live in permanently, then you probably want to go with a barn home. And if you're dealing with strictly a vacation property, you may want to go ahead and do a shed cabin. By the way, this cabin is on skids. It's literally a shed, so it can be picked up and moved. It was delivered that way. And so in many jurisdictions, the fact that it's on skids brings it out from under the permitting process, which could be a big plus. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe to the Mediocre Man channel. We do DIY and outdoor recreation and various projects.